This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? 'Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do. If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through, a way to break through.
MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, you already know this. I already know it. The host does not matter. The listeners matter. The viewers matter. The social media interactors matter. The call-in radio interactors matter. It is Freeform Friday, so I guess we should probably just be form of the free. Man, what an interesting news cycle over the last 24. If you haven't looked into it, don't worry, I'm going to take care of you. Anyways, today is Friday, September the 22nd. The 22nd, day 265th of the year, and only an amazing 100 days left. So what does that mean? That means that the next time that you and I reconvene, we will be in double digits on the amount of days that are left. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration in Radio Big is always what it's about. So if you want to actually interact with the show, it's a simple process of doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. And we can start the interaction action of what is going on. We can do the interactivity of hanging out and doing our thing. So there you go. Simple process. That's how we do it. We go in, we do our thing, and then we go from there. So if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can go over there and hang out with us, and we can get it all moving and grooving for you. So anyways, do you have anything special planned for this weekend? Because I think it's always important to talk about those things. If you do, cool. If you don't, well, we probably need to figure some things out for you. Now, I will tell you that if you are going to be in Orlando next week, which some people were here this week for the VPPA conference, and then next week, we're going to be hanging and banging, doing our thing. We'll be hanging out in Orlando. Alliance for Central Florida Safety is on Tuesday. It's known as Safety Day. Nice little event at the Rosen Plaza. If you want to come and hang out there, $30 gets you throughout the whole day, plus parking included in that, and food already included that. So it's a full day event, Safety Day 2023. And then if you are going to be here, still hanging out at the Rosen Plaza, the Conklin Conference is taking place. Conklin Conference will be taking place. Yeah, that's an availability for you. Next week, 27th through the 29th, safetyfm.io for more information. If you're interested, I think there's 2. If I remember looking correctly, there was 2 tickets left. 2. You know, this is when you're supposed to be like, limited tickets available. Now, 2 tickets. So there you go. So would love to see you there. Anyways, let's talk about what we have going on here. If you're not familiar with our show, it's kind of a simple process. We talk about safety in the news and safety. That's it. We bring in some professional broadcasters, and they talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world, which drives some people crazy. We talk about the world of safety, but here's the problem. When you get to Friday, we do it more of a free form. So what does that mean to you? Well, it probably means nothing, so let me explain what I'm trying to say. I take a look around on what damn news stories I missed throughout the week that I thought were important, or maybe were kind of important. And then I go in there and say, okay, we need to add X, Y, and Z into what we didn't talk about. Or I just go, hey, here's some news stories that we should talk about that we didn't have a time to. And then we kind of go from there. And that's it. That's what it sums up to on a Friday. So Freeform Friday. So we have professional newscasters that are waiting. I mean, I'm just saying they're just waiting to talk. Mark Mayfield's at that desk over there, and he has his mic on. I don't know if I'm supposed to turn it on. I mean, like show it that it's actually on. But he already has his mic on, ready to go. All he needs is for the light to come on, and he's ready to go with you to talk about what the hell's going on. So if you want to interact with the show, it's simple. Callinradio.com. Video messaging, audio messaging, and text messaging, which the text messaging is pretty popular, which I'm cool with. If you go to the social media platforms, it's appreciated. Don't get me wrong, but I don't pay a lot of attention to them throughout the show. I know people say for social media engagement, you shouldn't say that shit. Good. Tell that to somebody else. I keep it as realistic as possible of the things that are going on here. So with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we get into the news right now and see what... Oh, no, I can't get into the news. We didn't talk about what was trending. Maybe I should talk about what was trending first. Yeah, see how Freeform Friday screws me up?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so if I look at the trends first, it goes something like this. A mama bear treats her cubs to some Krispy Kreme donuts while another bear attacks... or another bear checks a frontierland. We'll talk about that. Things are getting messy in Joe Jonas and Sophia Turner's divorce, if you want to hear about that stuff. Dancing with the Stars honors the late Len Goodman. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some things that are going on in conferences throughout here, with, of course, some of the conferences that are occurring this week in the land of Doe. So we'll talk about some of that. And I guess that's going to sum up what we're going to talk about. Now we can possibly get into the news and see what the hell's going on. You like that idea? Good. So do I.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. President Biden is reaffirming U.S. support for Ukraine in its war with Russia. Brian Shook reports.
Biden hosted Ukrainian President Zelensky in the Oval Office for a bilateral meeting Thursday where he announced the U.S. will provide Ukraine with an additional $325 million in military aid. He told reporters no nation can be truly secure in the world if the U.S. and its allies don't stand up and defend Ukraine from Russian aggression. Zelensky, meanwhile, thanked Biden and the American people for ongoing military and humanitarian support. I'm Brian Shook.
The Biden administration is taking action to help curb gun violence. President Biden is set to introduce the first-ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention at a Rose Garden event today. Vice President Harris will lead the office, which will coordinate efforts to reduce shooting injuries and deaths nationwide. Members of law enforcement are expected to attend, along with survivors of gun violence and political leaders. There have been more than 500 mass shootings in the U.S. this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. 2 adults are dead and 5 students are in critical condition after a charter bus carrying members of a high school marching band rolled down an embankment in New York.
No one could have foreseen what these 40 students and 4 adults would have experienced, but certainly there are families grieving today.
Governor Kathy Hochul said Thursday's incident left more than 40 people injured. It happened in Orange County as the bus was going from Long Island's Farmingdale High School to band camp in Pennsylvania. While the investigation is ongoing, Hochul noted that the accident was likely caused by a faulty front tire. And 17 writers, including Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin, are suing OpenAI and its ChatGPT program for unlawfully copying their works. OpenAI says they respect the rights of writers and they should benefit from AI technology. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
The White House is defending its border policies as migrant crossings are surging. Trey Thomas reports.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the administration has taken action to curb the flow of migrants into the U.S., but Congress needs to act to pass immigration reform.
We have worked very hard. The president have worked very hard to implement a strategy when it comes to the border that is humane, safe, and has orderly enforcement.
This comes as thousands have crossed the southern border. In response, the administration granted more than 400,000 Venezuelans work permits and deployed military assistance. I'm Trey Thomas.
The next hearing in the Pentagon leaker case is set for today in Boston. Jack Teixeira, a Massachusetts Air National Guardsman, is accused of leaking sensitive Pentagon documents on social media. Earlier this year, he pleaded not guilty to federal charges that include willful retention and transmission of national defense information. Teixeira has been denied requests to be released from custody while awaiting trial. The building where the deadly Parkland school shooting took place in Florida will come down next summer. Lisa Taylor has a story.
The school district provided an update saying Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School's 1200 building will be demolished immediately after the current school year. Officials say the decision was made out of concern for the well-being of students and staff on campus. The spot where 17 people were killed and another 17 were hurt on Valentine's Day in 2018 has been preserved as a crime scene. The structure will be emptied before it's destroyed. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And WWE and NBC Universal have agreed on a deal reportedly worth $1.4 billion for Friday Night SmackDown. The wrestling show returns to the USA Network starting in October of 2024 after it ends its run on Fox. The agreement follows WWE merging with UFC last week after it completed a deal with Endeavor to create TKO Group Holdings. WWE will also produce 4 primetime specials each year that will air on NBC. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks, though. With the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet?
Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big. Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour on this lovely Friday. Yes, it's so lovely that it is a Friday. I mean, why would it not be lovely that it's a Friday? So there you go. So let's start talking about some stuff that is going on inside of this world, because it's important. So archaeologists unearthed what is believed to be the oldest wooden structure ever discovered at the Kalamazoo Falls in Zambia, Tanzania border. The artifact dates back to at least 476,000 years, well before the evolution of Homo sapiens. According to a study recently published in the Journal of Nature, the wood features cut marks likely from a stone tool that was used to connect two large logs to create some sort of platform, walkway, or raised dwelling. Wooden tools were also discovered at the site. This is according to Gizmodo. So what else? Speaking of old things, a dinosaur skeleton known as Barry will hit the auction block next month in Paris, dating back to around 150 million years ago. The bones were first discovered in Wyoming in the 1990s. And it was then restored in the 2000 by Barry James, hence the name. Standing at 6.9 feet tall and 16.4 feet long, the skeleton is expected to fetch somewhere about $1.28 million. $1.28 million. What do you think? You got a cool 1.3 sitting around for you to pick up some Barry skeleton? I mean, I don't know. I just ask these questions. Anyways, take a listen to this. Australian journalist Kristen Drisdale named her newborn son, let's see, Meth Rules, an effort to see what happens when a name gets rejected at the Registry of Birth, Death, and Marriages. She didn't get her answer, however, as the name was approved. After the initial shock wore off, Drisdale contacted the registry and is currently in the process of changing the name. As of how the name got approved the first place, the registry simply stated that it slipped through the cracks. So, some meth rules got through the cracks. What do you think? I mean, is that what happens? Does meth normally get through the cracks? Is that how it gets there in the first place?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying.
He is
trying to be entertaining.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a 19-year-old St. Louis man faces felony robbery charges after allegedly stealing a taco at gunpoint. This is one hell of a taco, man. Earlier this month, Antonio C. Murray Jr. allegedly held Lily's Panaderia employees at gunpoint to demand food. Growing impatient, Murray reportedly grabbed a taco and fled. He was arrested near the restaurant shortly after. If charged, Murray faces 10 to 30 years in prison. This is according to KMOV. Now, that's one hell of a taco. Now, listen, I don't know what kind of taco it is, but, wow. Some velvet taco thing comes to mind right away, but, man, 10 to 30 years for a taco. I hope that is one tasty taco when it's all said and done. Seriously.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a mama bear treated her cubs to some Krispy Kreme donuts last week in Anchorage, Alaska. The trio raided a van joint based in Richardson after the driver left the door open when he stopped to an express store. They ate about 20 packages of donuts whole and 6 packages of 3-pack chocolate donuts, according to the eyewitness of KTUU. So what do you think? I mean, some Krispy Kreme. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you look at it and go, maybe it was worth it. Maybe, who knows? Anyways, meanwhile, down south, a black bear was spotted at a tree at Walt Disney World this week in part of the park, and it had temporarily closed. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Bear Management Team was able to successfully capture and remove the bear, which was found its way to the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in Frontierland. Can you imagine that? Imagine that real quick. You're about to get onto a roller coaster, and they're like, little nixay on what you have going on. And it's like, why are you nixing the roller coaster ride? Well, we got some bad news. What's the news? Well, we have just recently been informed that there is a black bear, and you cannot move forward. I mean, that's one hell of a thing. That's for sure. So listen, let's talk about this because I don't know if you want to hear this, but if you are a frequent traveler, this could be important to you. So take a listen. J.D. Power has ranked North American airports. The factor taken into consideration is the rankings include terminal facilities, arrivals and departure, baggage claim, security check, check-in, and baggage check, and shopping for food and beverage at retail. Airports were broken down based on the number of passengers and results per year. So let's go through it. Top 3 mega airports, 33 million or more passengers. At number 3 was Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. At number 2, Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. And at number 1, you ready for this? I hope you're sitting, was the Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport. So there you go. Now let's take a look at the other side. Top 3 large airports, 10 million to 32.9 million. Number 3 was Salt Lake City International, and number 2 was John Wayne Airport in Orange County. And at the number 1 spot, you ready for this? Number 1 spot was Tampa International Airport. Now, taking a look at top 3 medium airports, this is 4.5 million to 9.9. And number 3 was Ontario International Airport in California. And number 2 was Southwest Florida International Airport in Fort Myers. And the number 1, and I have a friend that will probably dispute this because he just got stuck in Indianapolis, is the Indianapolis International Airport. There you go. Numero uno. There you go. Some things to think about if you are looking for some airports to go around to, because, it's important to go check them out on the ones that matter. No, seriously, I don't know. What do you think about all this stuff? Ranking of airports now. This is what we've gotten to inside of this show, where we're ranking airports. Do you fly frequently enough to have an opinion one way or the other? I'm just asking because I always want to know. I always want to know what people are thinking when it comes to these things. It's interesting to me. So let's do this real quick. I have Aaron Royale waiting. Now let's go ahead and do the, let's do some money matters because it does matter because it is money.
17 writers, including Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin, are suing OpenAI and its ChatGPT program for unlawfully copying their works. Lisa G. reports.
Michael Connolly, another author who's part of the lawsuit, claims his books were taken without his consent.
I wasn't asked about it. I didn't approve it. I think it's about consent. Our books were just fed into the big maw of AI.
The lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court alleges damaging infringement to registered copyrights. Meantime, OpenAI said they respect the rights of writers and they should benefit from AI technology. Lisa G., NBC News Radio, New York.
The number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment claims dropped last week by 20,000 to 201,000 people. Numbers out from the Labor Department this week show that the figures are the lowest since January and well below analyst predictions of 225,000. Congress is being urged to step in and make major changes to college sports. Athletic directors are demanding changes to the rules that govern the paying of players.
The current model is not sustainable, and that we all desire to see student athletes competing under the same fundamental and enforceable rules.
TCU's athletic director, Jeremiah Donati, was part of a hearing this week on what is called name, image, and likeness. They're asking the federal government to create standardized contracts to create a national registry of agents. That, they say, would prevent kids from getting ripped off and keep the system viable for generations. Close to 1 in 5 jobs are highly exposed to generative artificial intelligence. That's according to a new report from the job search website Indeed. Nearly 20% of jobs listed on the website are categorized as requiring skills that can mostly be performed by generative AI. But the majority of jobs face at least some exposure, with 80% either minimally or moderately exposed. With consumer and business news, Aaron Rayal, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Aaron Rayal, for the information. That is for sure. Let's talk real quick about what happened with some numbers. The Dow lost about 370 points to close at 34,070 on Thursday. The S&P dropped about 72 points to close at 4,330, and the NASDAQ lost about 245 points to close at 13,224. West Texas Intermediate closed at $90 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $93 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was all the way up to $3.87 on Thursday. Bitcoin dropped by 2.2%, or 2.02% on Thursday, trading just at 26,575. There was more than 4,493 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 101 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $205 million jackpot or a $98.1 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for a $725 million jackpot or a $345.7 million cash payout. So, if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. I mean, think about that. That's a giant swipe if you go ahead and take that thing full. If you take it full, just saying. Just saying. What do you think? Have you heard this? And I normally wouldn't talk about this on this show, but have you heard that Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson may soon know if they are actually related with the help of attorney king himself, Maury Povich? I would come out of retirement. We would do a primetime DNA Maury back with Woody and Matthew. The former Maury host told E! News. Remember earlier this year when McConaughey joked that the two actors being half-brothers after admitting that they had investigated his mother's dating history, which included romance with Harrelson's dad. So, there you go. Wouldn't that be something? I guess that's something to... Let's give them something to talk about, is how the term normally goes. Take a listen to this. Parts of the East Coast will be in a tropical storm warning this weekend. Mark Mayfield has more.
The National Hurricane Center issued the warning from just below Wilmington, North Carolina, up to the Maryland-Delaware state line. It's calling the low-pressure area potential tropical cyclone 16, and depending on when it's officially named, it could either be Ophelia or Philippe. A storm surge watch was also issued for parts of the coastline. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Wow, that was a really fancy name that they gave that thing. Think about that real quick. Take a listen to this. The White House is defending border policies as migrant crossing are surging, but the mayor of Eagle Pass, Texas, Rolando Salinas, is calling for support and action from the federal government.
We need to do something to control the situation. This is not normal. It is not normal for thousands of people to simply be walking in a line without consequence.
So there you go. Press Secretary said that the administration has taken the curb of flow of migrants to the U.S., but Congress needs to act to pass immigration reform. This comes as thousands have crossed the southern border and stretched the personal and detention capacity in the blink of recent days. In response, the administration granted 400,000 Venezuelans work permits to be deployed by military assistance. So there you go. Some things to talk about there for sure. The mother of a 7-year-old Sterling Heights girl is thankful for the work of the first responders that responded to her call at 911 after her daughter suffered an asthma attack on Wednesday afternoon. She's staying anonymous, but said that everyone who came was an angel.
She walked through the door and she said she couldn't breathe.
The fire department chief Jeff Duncan says the response of the girl had to be the treatment was a miracle, and he told his crew that the work is a big part of the reason and that he's proud to serve the department. The girl remains in the hospital. And take a listen to what else Jeff Duncan had to say.
When we left the scene, she was unresponsive. And then, so to see her eyes open and sitting up and breathing off an oxygen mask when she arrived at the hospital, that was pretty awesome.
So there you go. You see, things do help. Things do matter. Take a listen to this. Bears general manager Ryan Poles is moving forward despite the team dealing with adversity.
No one in our building's panicking. No one's flinching at any situations. Not our owner, not our president, not our head coach, not myself, none of our players. Everyone's focusing on solving the issues that we have so that we can be a better football team.
Poles said that the organization is solution-oriented and they will work together to get everything back on track. Poles' comments come as the Bears are 0-2 at the start of the season. Defensive coordinator Alan Williams resigned this week. Chicago hits the road to face Kansas City. How the hell did this get in here? I thought this was like a bear story because we've been talking about bears today. I mean, this tells you something. Take a listen to this one. UAW President Sean Fain will give an update to the union members today at 10 a.m. as he set a deadline of noon for expanding their strike against the Detroit 3 automakers unless substantial progress in contract talks has been made. Auto workers like Mark Kane remain at the picket line at Ford plants in Wayne, and strikes also include other factories like the ones in Toledo and General Motors plant in Missouri.
This out here is about the money. It's all about the money. If the executive's going to be making money like this, why we can't make money like this?
Fain is seeking 32-hour work week pay raises, mixes of 46% at the end of the tiered wage system, but all companies say that those demands can't be met. UAW member Louis Jackson was among those picketing last night.
My feet planted to the ground, so what we want is what we need. That's why we out here picketing every day.
Okay, so there you go. Definitely some things going on for sure as we are talking. Let's see. It is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and do that thing that we do right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is making an unannounced stop in Canada after talks in Washington. He's continuing efforts to rally support for the conflict with Russia after also speaking at the UN General Assembly in New York. Canada is calling on India to cooperate with its investigation into the killing of a Sikh separatist leader in British Columbia amid an escalating diplomatic row. This comes amid reports President Biden of the United States addressed concern about the matter to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the G20 summit this month. India's rejected Canada's claims, potentially linking it to the murder. Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
The row between New Delhi and Ottawa has continued to escalate over the Sikh separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was shot dead in June. India has stopped issuing new visas to Canadians, citing the security threat to its staff, which it says is disrupting work. And it has also asked Canada to reduce its number of diplomats in the country. Canada has said it won't release evidence, but it is urging India to cooperate in its probe. The White House says it won't give any special exemption to India, although the US has been bolstering ties with the country, which is seen as a counterweight to China. Rebecca Bunden, Mumbai.
China's warned the world not to underestimate its strong will on Taiwan and its power to safeguard what it regards as part of its sovereign territory. But speaking at the United Nations, Vice President Han Zheng also reiterated that it preferred peaceful means to take the island. Patrick Fock reports from Hong Kong.
China's Vice President Han Zheng reiterated Beijing's resolve for reunification with Taiwan at the United Nations General Assembly and said it was the shared aspiration of all sons and daughters of the Chinese nation. But the comments come in a week that's seen some of the heaviest military activity around Taiwan in recent months. Taiwan's defense ministry reported today it detected another 24 aircraft entering its air defense zone. Some analysts have noted China's silence on its movement around the island this week suggests it's honing its ability to counter any US military response to an invasion. Beijing regards Taiwan as part of its sovereign territory and hasn't ruled out taking it by force. Patrick Falk, Hong Kong.
Rupert Murdoch has announced he will step down as chair of News Corp and Fox News at company meetings in November. Caroline Malone reports from Washington.
Our companies are in robust health, as am I. The 92-year-old has enjoyed major success over his career, expanding a newspaper in Australia into the UK market and onto the US into Hollywood studios and forming Fox News in the 1980s. This year, Fox settled for nearly $800 million with Dominion Voting Systems, who brought a defamation case against the news channel, claiming it aired lies that the 2020 election was stolen. Caroline Malone, Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on Rupert Murdoch, who announced on Thursday that he's stepping aside at the helm of Fox and News Corporation, the end of a 7-decade career running news businesses. Murdoch announced that his son Lachlan will now succeed him as chairman of both companies. Murdoch's career started with a small local newspaper chain in Australia. It ends with him still one of the most powerful media titans the world has ever known. Though Fox's $787 million settlement of a lawsuit brought by the manufacturers of US voting machines badly tarnished his reputation. Stuart Purvis is the former chief executive of Britain's ITN.
He had a kind of very strong silent presence. I remember being at one of the Davos conferences, and he sat in the corner of the room, carefully taking notes of what everybody said. He barely said anything himself. And I thought, well, this is clearly not a man who just likes to hear the sound of his own voice. He's out there the whole time, gathering information. And the defenders of Murdoch will say that he put his money where his mouth was in terms of protecting news, in terms of the commercial future of news. He invested in it. But I think what's happened in the last few years has definitely put the case against Murdoch very strongly.
Rupert Murdoch is not disappearing entirely. He will remain as the chairman emeritus of both companies, offering advice to his son as the torch passes. I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is making an unannounced stop in Canada after talks in Washington. Canada is calling on India to cooperate with its investigation into the killing of a Sikh separatist leader amid an escalating diplomatic row. China's warned the world not to underestimate its strong will on Taiwan, and Rupert Murdoch's announced he will step down as chair of News Corp and Fox News. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good on Radio Big. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do. If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through, a way to break through.
Okay, we are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. This is Breakthrough. This little group right here is called Lucha, which could also be wrestling or it could be lucha, like taking a shower, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, you can give it a little download action if you want to. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music. Yeah.
You know, YouTube Music's part of your Prime experience, or your YouTube Premium experience. Yeah, I swear by that thing, but that's a whole other story. I'm not selling today. I don't really think I'm selling any day, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so give them a little listen. I like this song. For some reason, I really like some dance-style music, and you'll never catch my ass dancing anywhere. Not even the shower. Who dances in the shower? I thought it was singing in the shower. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get into the move and the groove on this Freeform Friday. It's so free and form. Thank you, Lucha, for this one. Breakthrough. That is for sure. Anyway, so let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's talk about it. To Write Love on Her Arms. Yep, I have to tell you about the website, To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com to find out more information. To Write Love on Her Arms. TWLOHA.com. Listen, there's all kinds of resources on their website, just to mention a few. Talks about addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, resources. You name it, it's there. It's available, and they'll tell you how to get some more information or how to get involved in it if you're so inclined to do so. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. There you go. Let's continue talking real quick about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse. It is Friday, so maybe we should talk about that this week. Expendables. Yeah. Armed with every weapon that they can get their hands on, the elite mercenaries, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, and Sylvester Stallone, are joined by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, Megan Fox, Tony Jaa. I mean, there's a whole list of names. So Expendables 4 out today. What else? It lives inside an Indian-American teenager struggling with her culture identity as falling out with her best friend and unwittingly releases a demonic entity that grows stronger by feeding on her loneliness. So there you go. Some stuffo. If you want to go to the theater and take a look, so it takes a look around, I guess that is for sure. Some options for you. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about some clean living, because people like to talk about this. The weekend is here, nothing but peace and relaxation for 48 hours, right? Nope. There are all the boring adult responsibilities to look into, like groceries, laundries, looking after the kids, and feeding them, and of course, cleaning. And how much time does the average person devote to house cleaning? According to a new survey, we spend the average of 6 full days per year cleaning. The survey of 2,000 people found that we will feel that our home is completely clean for just about 11 days of the year. Respondents say that it takes the average of 5 days to actually start cleaning after their home is first decided and it happened to other cleaning. 68% will devote the entire day to cleaning and sanitizing a specific room in their home. 63% say that the kitchen gets the entire day devoted to cleaning. In other rooms, people spend full days include the bathroom, 57%, living room, 57%, bedroom, 47%, and home office, 47%. The top specific items that people say that they need to be cleaned and sanitized in order is rugs, carpet at 68%, floors at 63%, and clothing at 57%. I have teenagers, their rooms require the entire weekend of cleaning, and that's after they've already cleaned it. While the talk of house cleaning, isn't it Christmas already? I mean, I'm just saying, it's close enough. You know that's where everything starts happening. Everything has to be spick and span. You know, you have the spring cleaning portion that people talk about, and then you get into the fall, and it's like, oh my, I have all these people that are coming over and all this other stuff. And I mean, I don't know. Is cleaning services an option? I just want to have a better understanding. Is it or is it not?
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on as what we are talking about. No doubt about that for Scherzo. So there you go. So let's get into this a little bit, because there are always things to talk about. There is always things to do. So why don't we get into some motivation minute right now? We'll bring some John Smalls in here. Take a listen.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Gail. Bill Murray said, "I'm suspicious of people who don't like dogs, but I trust a dog when it doesn't like a person." I love this. First of all, I'm kind of a big fan of Bill Murray. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd like him as a person, but he does star in several of my favorite movies. His characters are always very flawed, but they're also very lovable. He can be so serious and bring you to tears, or he can find a way to make you laugh in the middle of a really serious scene with an amazing quick wit. I think that's him. Either that or the writers are all great at putting the right words in at the right time. Oh, and as for the thing he said about dogs, I agree 100%. If my dog doesn't like you, it's probably you. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Thousands more healthcare workers in California are in support of a strike at Kaiser. This could be the largest healthcare strike in U.S. history. Kaiser employs about 85,000 doctors and nurses across 8 states, including California. There's a new study out suggesting a possible link between diet soda and autism. Researchers at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio found that pregnant mothers who drank 1 can of diet soda a day were more likely to give birth to a child who's on the autism spectrum.
I would hope that moms who are considering becoming pregnant would consider these as red flags of warning.
Dr. Sharon Fowler says the study looks specifically at a sweetener called aspartame. It raises new questions about the dangers of the sugar substitute, which has also been linked to cancer in different studies. Health Updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Most of us think of life as a race to run, a mountain to climb, a challenge to meet, or an obstacle to overcome. With grim determination, we set out to do battle with the forces arrayed against us. Given that mindset, is it any wonder that while we may achieve success, we seldom experience fulfillment? To live with meaning, life must be seen as a gift from God to be received with thanksgiving and lived with joy. Lord Jesus, remind us that life is not found in the accumulation of things, but in the richness of our relationship with family and friends, and mostly in our relationship with you. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
It's the show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Rated R Safety Show, 53 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's do a few more news stories for you, if you don't mind. Take a listen to this. Brightline officially kicks off its high-speed rail service from Miami to Orlando, Florida. Atlantic University urban planning professor Dr. John Renee calls for this win-win for tourists, residents, and business travelers.
High-speed rail does offer significant impacts for local economies. It's important to note that those impacts can take time. They don't happen overnight.
Brightline is expected to reach a maximum speed of 125 miles per hour on the 235-mile trek that should take about 3.5 hours, opposed to the 4 hours it normally takes in a car. There are 16 daily round trips, 8 hourly departures from north to south. Florida Atlantic University urban planning professor Dr. Renee says that taking the train is a no-brainer.
If you have to, spend $30 or $40 or $50 a day to park your car at a hotel when you get to Miami from Orlando, the economics, tip into the side of looking at other options. There are a lot of factors that go into making those decisions, and in the past we just didn't have options.
Okay, so there you go. If you're in Orlando and Miami, there's some options for you. Take a listen to this. Obesity is on the ride. Take a listen to what Brian Shook has to say.
That's according to the CDC, which cites data that shows 22 states had at least 35% of adults with obesity in 2022. That number is up from 19 in 2021. Obesity is most prevalent in Louisiana, Oklahoma, and West Virginia, with more than 40% of adults being classified as obese. The Midwest and southern regions of the U.S. had the highest numbers overall. I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, thank you, Brian Shook, for that. Take a listen to this. The first of its kind spa approved for marijuana consumption may be coming to Denver. Rebecca Maroween wants to turn the vacant building in the city's of Baker neighborhood into a pure elevation spa and garden where patients would be treated for various ailments using cannabis and massage therapy.
The vision for Pure Elevation Spa and Garden is really to educate our consumers about the benefits of medicinal marijuana, to help my clients as a massage therapist get relief, whether that be from aching joints, arthritis, emotional and mental disabilities.
While marijuana is still illegal to consume in public, Rebecca recently got a tentative approval for marijuana consumption license. It's a long process, but one that the city of Denver is cracking down on hard. Between June and August of this year, 9 businesses received warning letters of criminal citations from the city operating events without a license to consume cannabis. Rebecca says that receiving her license feels like a dream come true and hopes to open the business by next April. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there for sure as we are talking. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this day as I take a look around back in 2020. The COVID-19 death toll surpasses 200,000 in the U.S. It was the highest number of deaths in the world at the time. So there you go. That happened back in 2020. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Tom Felton turns 36, Billy Piper 41, Chris Tallman 53, Barry Grip 56, Bonnie Hunt, 62. Scott Baio turned 63. Joan Jett, 65. Andrea Bocelli turned 65 today. Tony Basil turns 80. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. Of course I do. And there's quite a few. It's International Astronomy Day, Native American Day, National White Chocolate Day, Hobbit Day, National Elephant Appreciation Day, Love Note Day, National Doodle Day, Businesswoman Day, World Car Free Day, Hug a Vegetarian Day, National Ice Cream Cone Day, Dear Diary Day, World Rhino Day, and that's going to be it for you. So there you go. That's some days to celebrate if you're so inclined to take a look-see at it. That is for sure. If you need a random joke for today, do crabs think we walk sideways? If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What's something you really resent paying for? Subscription services. So there you go. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. When asked, they are the most excited about this with the arrival of fall. 23% of people said, what is it? Going apple picking. If that question doesn't work for your area, try this one. If you do this on a first date, you are twice as likely to go out again. What is it? Share a dessert. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with me on this lovely Friday. I appreciate the time. I will be going up to RadioBig.fm if you want to come hang out with me for the next couple hours or so as we talk about the world of news and music and entertainment. If you want to come out to listen to some music, if you hang out here and stay on Safety FM, you'll get to hang out with the sounds of Sheldon Primus. I got to spend about an hour or so on the phone with him yesterday. Boy, it was a fun time talking to that man who gets to travel the planet. It sounds that way. So there you go. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. That is for sure. If I can't give you a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Change your thoughts, and your change will have an effect on the world. Keep that in mind. There you go. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.